Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Nate Habermeyer. Nate Habermeyer is a trusted advisor and seasoned business leader with 15 years experience building businesses, teams, and profiles for Fortune 500 companies, to pension funds, to startups. He is an award-winning marketer who has advised companies and governments from Chile, China, South Korea, Mexico, the UK, the US, and Canada. He is passionate about building high-performing teams and mentoring future leaders. Nate also co-founded Intro Global, specializing in global market entry, go-to-market optimization, and foreign market growth strategies. Intro Global partners with innovative companies like biotech, artificial intelligence, machine learning, fintech, big data, and others to develop omnichannel strategies to drive sales volume, value, and velocity. Well, good afternoon, Nate. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet, Nate. I appreciate it. And you're hailing from the Toronto area, so I appreciate you jumping on. I've already did a couple of podcasts this morning and one in the UK. So thank you again for joining. Let's jump right into the questions. You've got quite the background in consulting, being a board member, and now you're the CEO of your global company. Could you share with our audience what drives you and what has contributed to your success?
Yeah, sure. And thanks again for having me on. So it's really three things that I'm motivated by. It's number one is like the mentoring, kind of the leadership aspect of having my own company, contributing to other people's success, seeing personal, professional development in my staff and my employees. So that's really number one. Number two is I'm comfortable with ambiguity. I like to push the limits, my own personal expertise. I like the exploring new ventures and being entrepreneurial. Having my own firm and being a CEO gives me the opportunity to really stretch myself and push my boundaries. And then number three is, being a leader is all about trust and relationships, being kind, being honest, transparent. And so building trust and being transparent with my team and having that responsibility is a really exciting prospect. I really, truly enjoy the task of getting people excited about and rally and support behind, a new initiative. And that really requires like a process of building trust and being authentic, being transparent.
Thank you for sharing, Nate. That's amazing. In fact, the guests on my previous podcast talking about around investing in employees and being that coach, mentor, and being engaged is really a key part of the success of your business. So thank you for sharing that. Nate, as you know, everybody globally has had to make major shifts to adapt to the new normal during this pandemic. Could you share with us what you're doing to help your company stay relevant in this economy?
Yes, that's a big topic and a question that is asked all the time, like whether I'm in a board meeting or meeting with my team, even kind of mentoring startups through two accelerators, one in Singapore and one in San Francisco that I volunteer at. Our approach to sort of this new normal has been kind of looking for where is business going? How is it evolving? It's not just kind of following the opportunity, but it's following the opportunities and then, sticking to your DNA. So I'll give you an example of that. One of our services at Intro Global has been to connect investors in North America with innovative, cutting edge startups in Asia. So we would run and host investor roadshows to South Korea, for instance. We partnered with Hanyang University and several other Korean innovation hubs and brought North American investors to meet with their startups, to judge their startups, to mentor their startups. There was one deal that came out of one of our roadshows last year, but now all that has changed. Travel is no longer an option. You have to self-quarantine. Things like indoor dining are shuttered, it's just even the handshake. And so what we've done is we've shifted that service. We're providing the service and connecting people, investors and startups in totally different markets and geographies. And we're doing that now virtually. So we've really perfected, I think, a formula for that virtual roadshow. So staying relevant is, helping continue to solve the problems and create solutions for people in this new normal. And so that's just one example of how we figured out how to solve a problem of, we can't travel anymore, but I still want to meet, really great startups and leaders. The other thing is digital transformation is really accelerated. We've partnered with several providers of different like cloud-based AI, data infrastructure management, other cloud type digital transformation tools. And we're really helping them find new customers, find new partners in new geographies. And that's one of Intro Global's selling points, is that we specialize in optimizing market entry into a foreign economy. So if you're a North American technology company in, say, IT, we can help you get into and commercialize in South Korea. If you're biotech and you have a commercially ready product, an indication or a medical device, whatever, we have partners in India, financial partners, government partners, legal partners that are going to help you commercialize in that economy. And that's all come about because now we're closer than ever because of this pandemic, meaning we're connected and we have to do things virtually. We're not wasting time on a plane. We're not doing a lot of the fun things like going out to dinner, shaking hands, doing the networking. We've had to adapt. And so that's kind of one of the ways of staying relevant in this economy, is to continue to solve problems with innovative solutions.
Thanks for sharing. I think that's very relevant that you're sharing that as far as the tools, the virtual platforms that we're using to continue to keep us relevant in this economy. So thanks again, Nate. Nate, are you leveraging any new or emerging technologies out there? Maybe there's an app you're using that's pretty cool and you want to share with our audience.
Yeah, sure. So always loved HubSpot and their CRM. I can't say enough about that in terms of helping us manage the funnel, manage requests for proposals or interested parties. A new app that I've been using this year is called Copilot.ai. And that basically helps me take Sales Navigator from LinkedIn and automate some of the outreach to very specific audience members. I'm already reaching out to people that, I come across their profile. It looks interesting. I want to connect with them. But what Copilot has allowed me to do is, it's particularly for biotech, has allowed me to hyper target some of the biotech companies that are kind of scale ups, mid-market, that have a commercially ready product, and reach out and connect with them at scale to share with them that we have this opportunity in India and we want to talk to them about who our investor partners are, who our government partners are, and potentially engage them in helping them come to India, helping them leverage that market entry. So Copilot has been really helpful in connecting with, specific audiences that we have a specific ask or an offering that we feel like is valuable for them and their business.
Thank you for sharing that. I think leveraging the newer technology around machine learning has really helped innovate, especially in this last 6 months. So that's helpful, and it's going to be great for sharing with my audience. And Nate, here's the big question. Audience just wants to learn more about Nate. Can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either leadership or entrepreneurship?
A mentor of mine, like years and years ago, when I was in public relations and at an agency, he was this older guy towards the end of his career, had just done like incredible things. Like, in fact, he gave me an old stock sheet for this mining company from like the 1950s that I still have. Obviously, the company's not around, but it's a stock. And so, when I asked, I was like, well, how do I become you? Like, I want to emulate you. I want to be you. I want to, have this wine cellar that he has in his house. I want to, work on the projects that I want to work on. Like, how do I become you? And so he told me, he said, leave PR, go do something completely different, then come back to PR. And so that always stuck with me, because what I did after that is several years later, I had the opportunity to get out of PR and I went and worked at a marketing agency advertising shop for 2 years that I was an executive at. So it gave me a completely different perspective on marketing, data, insights, strategy, et cetera. That advice is not only helpful like in a PR sort of in my experience, but I think for anybody who is looking to grow their career, you have to be able to speak the language of people you're collaborating with. Leaving your industry, taking a risk and going into another industry to exercise, to grow your skills, constantly push the limits, can really help you become a better expert. I mean, I'm a T-shaped leader, so I've got a lot of experience in a wide variety of industries, but I'm really specialized in things like fundraising and messaging and corporate strategy, PR. These are areas that I know have deep expertise in, but I can speak the language of SEO. I can speak the language of machine learning. I understand like the tech stack. I understand like the development. I spent a lot of time hanging around, the engineering office with clients, getting to know like the engineers, because that's where the story is. So if there's one piece of advice, is kind of reiterating that advice, was become an expert in what you're doing, but then take a risk, do something totally outside of that expertise, and then come back to it and continue pushing your boundaries. So I guess it's really two pieces of advice.
Thank you, Nate, for sharing that. Again, I love to share these nuggets of wisdom from all the great guests on this show. And what's really cool is it's not just for me, but it's for our entire audience. So thank you again for sharing. And Nate, it was a pleasure having you on the show today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Yeah, thank you. Pleasure's all mine.
Bye for now.